2024 was a big year for real estate. Not only did our market see somewhat of a rebound despite the high interest rates, but we also had disruptive market changes with regards to the newly required buyer broker compensation agreements, as well as the removal of commissions for a buyer's broker in the MLS. In addition, the Department of Justice is arguing against clear cooperation policies and the requirement to input all listings in the MLS in order to sell on the fair market. All that to say, I'm curious to see what 2025 will bring. This has been a very fascinating year, but I'm curious to see what 2025 will bring both locally in our Santa Cruz real estate market as well as nationally, as there are already additional lawsuits that are combating what has taken place in 2024. Hi, I'm Shemeika Fox, your Santa Cruz real estate expert, and if you are considering a move in the Santa Cruz area, we would love to be the ones to help you with that. Here's new information. Between August 17th, 2024 and January 1st, 2025, the newly regulated National Association of Realtors settlement of the lawsuit against Stitzer and Burnett has created a requirement that not only are we to remove the buyer broker compensation from the MLS, but now buyers have been required to sign a buyer broker compensation agreement prior to even touring properties. But it sounds like effective January 1st, 2025, California law will require that a buyer broker representation agreement be executed between a buyer and a buyer's agent as soon as practicable, but no later than the execution of the buyer's offer to purchase real property. Under the California law, the term of the buyer representation agreement shall not exceed 3 months from the date this agreement was made. So, previously, between August 17th, 2024 and December 31st, 2024, we realtors were required to get a buyer broker compensation agreement signed prior to even showing property. But as of January 1st, 2025, that rule will change slightly and we will need this to be signed prior to or when we are submitting an offer to purchase real property. The other thing that changed was we had what is called a seller pay buyer broker agreement that was accompanying all offers so that we could delineate who was responsible for the buyer's side of the broker compensation. And now this bit of negotiation is going to be built into the purchase agreement or the offer that is coming to the buyer. Just makes it a little bit cleaner and more concise. So besides that, questions have already arisen regarding the interaction of this new law with the practice changes required by the National Association of Realtors. The other thing that is been a hot topic in the news a lot is the Department of Justice arguing against clear cooperation policies. So issues relating to the clear cooperation policies, the industry is divided over this policy. On one hand, some argue that the policy stifles competition and forces agents into using the MLS, thereby limiting the ability to use alternative marketing platforms. They also argue that it eliminates choices for both consumers and agents by mandating MLS participation. Those in support of the policy argue that it ensures a fair market, creates an even playing field, and avoids potential fair housing issues. There are already lawsuits pending over the policy, and the DOJ has also raised antitrust concerns over the policy. 2025 may be the year that the lawsuits are decided and or the DOJ decides to move forward on the issue. We shall see. What this means is, let's say that I had a home seller and they did not want to put their house on the market, and I said, we don't have to put your house on the market. Let me call the people who I know would be interested in purchasing your home. Call them. I find a buyer for this property and we put together a purchase agreement. But the buyer is satisfied with the terms and the seller are satisfied with the terms. The Department of Justice is saying that if you do not input this listing on the MLS so that the entire market can view it, that there's the potential that we're not getting the fair market value for the seller, and that we're also not offering fair marketability for the buyers to have the opportunity to purchase it. So what do you guys think? Put your comments below. Do you think the Department of Justice should have the right to dictate whether or not a seller must input their listing on the MLS? Now, obviously, in most cases, that's going to get the biggest bang for your buck, meaning we're going to be able to market it to a a wider variety of people and really be able to get the highest and best terms. However, that said, I have had many circumstances where a seller just simply does not want their home on the MLS. They don't want public showings. They don't want their personal information being portrayed on the internet, and they just want to have a private sale that is off market. Comment down below. Do you think that the Department of Justice has the right to tell us that we must put every listing on the MLS for a clear cooperation policy? Let's see what happens in 2025. Lawsuits that are challenging the requirements that brokers join National Association of Realtors as well as the California Association of Realtors and local associations in order to gain access to the MLS. These, we are aware of 2 lawsuits that are pending, one in Pennsylvania and one in California, challenging the National Association of Realtors requirement for memberships in the National Association of Realtors as well as the California Association of Realtors and local association in order for licensees to gain access to the MLS. The suit in California was filed in early November and claims that this rule establishes an exclusionary practice and constitutes an unlawful tying arrangement to the extent that brokers and agents must purchase these memberships to the market's ability to support alternative trade organizations, therefore stifling competition. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that we as real estate brokers should have to be participants in the National Association of Realtors, the California Association of Realtors, and our local jurisdiction in order to gain access to the MLS? This is the way that it has been practiced for many, many years, but all of a sudden everything in real estate seems to be shifting and changing. So do you think that that is right, or should the MLS be available to all realtors despite their affiliation with the NAR, CAR, or a local membership? Okay, those are the big changes with regards to how real estate is being practiced, as well as laws pertaining to real estate and the things that a broker must comply with, as well as the broker's clients. Let's take a look at the interest rates. Interest rates were a hot topic in 2024. Many experts thought that we were going to see multiple interest rate reductions throughout the year. That did not happen. In fact, we only saw one reduction in September. Otherwise, we held pretty stable between 6.08 and 7.22% for mortgage interest rates for 2024. CoreLogic's chief economist Selma Hepp highlighted that the mortgage rate fluctuations were largely influenced by the bond market's response to economic and political factors. Concerns about the deficit spending and potential inflation kept rates elevated, and the hoped for decline never fully materialized. Mortgage rates came down and spurred a lot of optimism, Hepp noted, and we did see a lot of refinance activity when the mortgage rates dropped. We also saw a little spike in pending sales, indicating that buyers were back off the sidelines, but that really only lasted for a short period of time when rates fell in that September-October timeframe. 2025 mortgage rates seem uncertain as well, though the good news, generally speaking, mortgage rates remain high when the economy is stable. So that means that our economy is stable. We haven't gotten a full grasp on inflation yet, which means people are out there spending money and buying homes, and our job market is pretty secure as well. Another thing that our real estate market, both nationally as well as locally right here in Santa Cruz, suffered from were affordability challenges and inventory shortage. And affordability challenges and inventory shortage go hand in hand. 2024 brought about affordability challenges across the U.S. housing market, with housing prices remaining at an all-time high and inflation also remaining untamed. Our interest rates remained high. The high interest rates actually seem to have had the opposite effect on what they intended to do, which was bring the cost of housing or the purchase price down. But since so many people were able to refinance and or purchase homes when interest rates were between that 2 and 3% range, there were fewer motivated sellers who wanted to sell their home, adding inventory to the market, and purchase a new home. So as a result, we saw less inventory, and our inventory was not able to keep up with our demand, which meant that prices remained high. Though many homeowners did stay put, there is also always a reason or a life event that causes people to sell. The things that we often see or reasons why homeowners do decide to sell are things such as death, divorce, relocation for a job, birth, marriage, real significant life-changing events. As the year progressed, we did see some escalation in housing inventory. In September, which is in line with the lowest mortgage rates were for the year of 2024, the Santa Cruz real estate market saw its peak with a total of 505 active listings countywide, compared to the lowest point in active listings, which was in January, when active listings were 259. That is for the entire county of Santa Cruz, and it is including both single-family homes as well as condos and townhomes. The highest number of sales we saw was in October, which makes sense as people locked their low rates in September. They were able to close a month later in October. So the number of closed sales in Santa Cruz for residential real estate in October was 171 sales, almost 100 more units in comparison to the low of 77 in January 2024. And year over year, June 2023 had the highest number of sales at 180, which is typical with regards to our real estate cycles. We usually have the biggest sales months in spring and summer. And the highest level of active listings in 2023, we're comparing year over year, was in October, and that number came in at 408 units that were active. In September 2024, we saw the highest active units at 505, and that was more than the high of 2023. So we are seeing some increase in inventory year over year. In both 2023 and 2024, the lowest number of active listings was January. So if you are considering selling, even though many people like to wait for the spring and summer selling months, Santa Cruz has a great seller's market in January and February, as there is less competition and there is more demand, because after people are coming out of the holidays, I see this year over year, my phone starts ringing off the hook starting January 2nd, and people have decided that this is going to be the year that they buy a home. So if you are thinking of selling your home, this is against the grain, I know, but two of the best months that Santa Cruz has for a seller's market is January and February. The other thing that affected affordability in our real estate industry, again, locally and nationally, but locally specifically because we are dealing with high fire zones and the loss of so many homes due to the CZU fires, was insurance. Insurance had a huge impact on our local real estate market. I saw quotes in high fire zones from anywhere from $14,000 a year all the way up to about $20,000 a year, depending on what type of property it was, what the size and condition of the home was, because again, you're insuring the replacement cost. So if you have a smaller home, then the replacement cost won't be as expensive as if you have a large, beautiful, brand new home, because you're trying to insure in like kind. So insurance and the loss of insurance companies in California generated another challenge within our real estate industry. We ended up having to use on multiple occasions a fair plan policy in place of a traditional insurance policy. Now, the misnomer is that the California Fair Plan is a government-backed insurance policy, and it is actually a private insurance company that was established in the 70s when they were seeing a bunch of brush fires down in the LA area. So the California Fair Plan policy has been a savior in the sense that you can get an insurance policy, but it's also been quite expensive. So that has been lending itself again to making our Santa Cruz real estate a bit more expensive and less affordable. Let's take a look at the statistics for Santa Cruz County for 2024 as we wrap this year up. The median sales price in November came in at $1.4 million, which is an increase of 25.9% from the previous year. So though interest rates remained high, we still saw a 25.9% increase from the previous year. The median days on market in November 2024 came in at 35, which was down from 48 the previous year. The number of homes sold in November were 22, which was down from 27 from the previous year. And the median sales to list price ratio as of October 2024, the median sales to list price ratio was 0.9 0.996. Percent of sales over list price as of October 31st, 2024 was 38.3% of sales were over the list price, and the average sale time as of November 2024, the average sale time was 33 days, a 7.8 increase from November 2023. The total number of sales for 2024 for residential real estate right here in Santa Cruz was 1,594 sales for the entire year of 2024. The highest sale was at 4190 Opal Cliffs Drive. This was a brand new construction on over an 11,000 square foot lot. It was 4 bedrooms, 4 full bathrooms, and 2 half bathrooms. The total square footage was 3,373 square feet, and it had breathtaking ocean views right at Opal Cliff. I mean, you could not get a more desirable location. And that property sold for $8,750,000. That capped the highest sales price for Santa Cruz real estate in 2024. The lowest sales price for Santa Cruz in 2024 sold at $100,000 in the Los Gatos Mountains. It was a little cabin, about 800 square feet, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, on almost 4 acres. And the address of this property that sold for $100,000 is 23572 Morrill Cutoff in the Los Gatos Mountains. That's a wrap for real estate, both locally and nationally, for 2024. My predictions for 2025 are actually that we will finally start to see interest rates come down. We will start to see more buyers that are ready to purchase homes. We will see more sellers that are ready to sell their homes, so we'll see more inventory. I'm very hopeful that the insurance commissioner can get a grasp on what is needed with regards to fair insurance policies right here in Santa Cruz, both locally here and nationally, because I actually heard a statistic that in some areas of Florida, the insurance policies are costing more than the houses that they're purchasing, which is an insane statistic. So for 2025, my prediction is that we will start to see interest rates come down. I anticipate that we'll end the year in the low 6% range, maybe the high 5% range. I don't think that we'll be much lower than the high 5% range. I do anticipate that we're going to see more inventory. It feels like most buyers and sellers are feeling a bit more confident in this new real estate economy, shifting out of the 2022 and shifting out of the COVID bubble of that crazy, insane, fast pace. Everything is selling before it even comes on the market. It does feel like both buyers and sellers are gaining a bit more consumer confidence, and they will be ready to hit the ground running, whether they're selling their home right here in Santa Cruz or whether they're ready to buy one. I do think 2025 is going to be a great year for both buyers and sellers. I think our market will even out a bit. We've been still teetering on a more favorable seller side, though every property is different and unique. It is all property specific and dependent. But I do feel that we are going to see a bit more consumer confidence. Buyers are going to be ready to make that investment, buy their new homes, and sellers are going to be ready to sell. So we're going to have an influx of new inventory. We're going to have lower interest rates, and we're going to have new developments all over this county. If you are considering a move right here in Santa Cruz, we would love to be the ones to help you with that. I'm Shemeika Fox, your Santa Cruz real estate expert, and Happy New Year. I hope that you have a wonderful 2025.